From the field to the card shop, it's Moon 3PO and Bro PO breaking down baseball and the hottest sports cards. Bro PO, it is a Sunday night, a very roller coaster
Mo-
Sunday night,
Monumental
to
night,
say
if
the
you want
least.
to call it that, for the sport.
Monumental uh, Sunday night. Um, Before we get into it, how's your Sunday night going?
It's actually going a lot better than I thought, given the news. And of course, if you don't know, or if you don't have a cell phone, we're maybe about an hour and a half probably in from the Juan Soto news. Instant reaction. I yelled "fuck" in the house. So then the wife was like, "What's wrong? What happened?" I'm like, "Juan Soto's going to the Mets." So, and then I just sat there, and then it just like it's kind of just like, well, at least it's not the Yankees. I think as a Red Sox fan, I think this is probably like the second best scenario. Is of course the first one to be if you actually come with the Sox, but second best case scenario is he goes with the Mets and essentially leaves the AL East. We don't have to see him. We see him once a year probably, with the interleague play. And yeah, I don't know. What was your initial reaction to it?
Yeah, obviously we'll dive deeper into instant reactions and overall thought process. It's going to be more of a therapy ranting session for us Sox fans. But yeah, no, kind of the same reaction. I was at my in-laws putting up their Christmas lights for them, and then I was looking over. We're kind of just eating dinner, relaxing, and then I look over to Mrs. Moon 3PO and I tell her I think Juan Soto's going to sign tonight, and I'm going to lose my goddamn mind if he decides to sign when we're live on the pod. And obviously we record our pod around 10 p.m. like CST. And then sure enough, I was just scrolling on my scrolling on Twitter, X, where you want to call it these days, kind of just keeping up with it. It's been a long time, I will say for myself, that I've done something like this. And obviously we'll kind of cover, where the mindset was later on this pod. But I was thinking to myself, like, man, it's been a long time. I was getting I'm pretty sure there's another free agency signing that I could think of, but I was getting John Lester PTSD flashbacks. I was consistently checking Twitter, refreshing every 30 seconds or so, whatever. But yeah, instant reaction. Said son of a bitch. And then she came out of the room. She's like, what happened? I was like, he's signed with the Mets. And then maybe not the appropriate wording or language you want to have at your in-laws, but I said son of a bitch. And then
True that. I mean,
we
when
have
I
a
dropped the F bomb, we were in the middle of watching Elf family Christmas movie time, and then I don't know where you just hear "fuck." So not
and then
probably the best word to yell around when you have a 3-year-old that wants to literally say everything you say. So yeah.
and then we have a family group chat, and our family group chat is her uncles are
Oh
they're Yankee
yeah,
fans. So I
yeah.
really went in there, started talking shit in there a little bit, but uh, so it's a
Sorry,
win,
not
it's a
sorry.
win loss, win loss for me uh, in that aspect. But yeah, if obviously, like we've touched it here, if you were been living under a rock or do not have access to social media, Juan Soto has officially signed with the New York Mets. 15 years, $765 million. That is not only the largest contract in baseball, but the largest contract in all of sports. We had projections here. We did our free agent projections here a couple episodes ago. We were around the 10, 15-year range. We weren't really too sure about the years, but money-wise, we were kind of saying between 650, maybe 675. At least that's where I was at. I think you were kind of in the same ballpark. And we both had the Mets too. So we nailed that projection. Obviously, there is the money is where we left off. I want your instant reaction because obviously, like we just said here, that's the largest contract in American sports, more than Shohei Ohtani. And obviously, with Shohei Ohtani, it was deferrals. I think that it was like the true contract was 460. I think when you take out the deferrals, and obviously with Ohtani, you have the international aspect, and the Dodgers are essentially making their money back instantly. Uh, so I kind of open the door to you a little bit, open the floor to you. Is what's your instant reaction to both the years and to the money?
Yeah, it's the dollar amount is actually kind of blew me. So I think when we could probably backtrack this a little bit. I think when the initial offers first started coming out, I think everybody was around the $600 million mark, if I'm not mistaken. And I think when they kind of went through those second round of negotiations, I think that's when it started to bump up. Um, I just saw right now on MLB Network that Bob Nightingale tweeted out that he got a $75 million signing bonus. So that's crazy. Um, so yeah, he signed for 15 years, 765. I think the from what I saw on MLB Network, the Yankees offered the same dollar amount but had an extra year on it, if I'm not mistaken. And then the Sox final offer was 15 years, 700 million. So I mean, they were in the ballpark, but I think essentially, I think all teams were probably or at that mark. But Stevie Cohen, he just decided to back up the Brinks truck and get him that extra money. Uh, so yeah, I'm curious to see like where the Blue Jays were. I honestly, I always saw like on movie number two, and everybody's tweeting out they were saying like, "Oh, the Dodgers don't count them out," but I highly doubt they were in that ballpark, considering that they like to do the deferral things. I mean, he has no deferrals in this contract,
Go
and I think he
deferrals.
has an opt out. He has an opt out after the fifth year, which I read that the Mets can block it if they add on an extra 5 million a year to his contract. So essentially, if he opts out, they can block it and turn his 51 million into 55 million for like the remaining 10 years. So, um, yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some other contract stuff that we'll see eventually later on. But that's the gist of it. But yeah, the money's crazy. I mean, it's so much freaking money. Um, I think we even saw there was a tweet earlier too that they were saying that there was rumors of it possibly even hitting 800 million. When I was like, good
800. Yeah, that's
lord,
the tweet that I
that's
saw.
crazy.
I saw 800 million. I was like, there's no, like, don't get me wrong, generational hitter, generational talent. Say what you want about the glove, but $800 million, like that's bonkers to me. Like that's just crazy to me. Like obviously it's not my money. I don't give a damn. Like I'm not paying that money. But I think as an owner, or like if I was in the Red Sox position, they're telling me, if Scott Boras is calling my line, he's telling me, hey, 800 gets it done. I'm like saying like, hey, like I can't do that. Like that's just crazy to me.
Yeah, that's crazy money. 800 million. But I mean, even at 765, that's a lot. Um, but yeah, that was my initial reaction. I was like, "Fuck." That's essentially
Yeah, and this is all coming off from the Athletic. Just kind of reiterate everything here that you said. So yeah, Juan Soto 15, 765. And first reported here that $75 million is a signing bonus. No deferred money with opt out the fifth season after, like you just mentioned there. And it kind of mentions here in the article that the deal will set a financial paradigms for the sport. Soto, who turned 26 on October, received the largest total package and large average annually AAV for $51 million. He eclipsed the record set last winter by Shohei Ohtani because Ohtani deferred the overwhelming majority of the 10 years, 700 million. So the present of the deal was 46 million. And it says now Soto sits alone at top of the financial mountain. The size of the deal cannot be considered a shock. And to kind of put into more perspective of what this does and what the money means, this kind of threw me for a loop. To put this deal in perspective, the Fenway Sports Group purchased the Boston Red Sox for $700 million in 2002. So his contract is worth more than what the Fenway Sports Group bought the Boston Red Sox in 2002. And then Aaron Judge, obviously, he's totally eclipsed them there. Aaron Judge being at 10,360. And then it says here that Soto will earn nearly more. I don't know if this is accurate or not because of the Severino deal, but it says here that Soto will earn nearly $4 million in 2025 than the Athletics opening day. Oh, and payroll in 2022. I didn't finish that part there. I thought I was going to say that he is more than the coming season, but he's earning $4 more million than the Oakland Athletics 2022 deal, which is still kind of ridiculous that he's made more than the total Athletics team. And it kind of put into perspective here as far as yes, he's 26. He's at a 36.4 career WAR, 285 career hitter, 201 home runs, OPS plus of 160. Last year, to put it into more perspective, a nearly 8B WAR. I think probably Fangraphs probably had a little bit lower considering his defense. But 41 home runs, 109 RBIs, 288, 419 on base, 569 slugging, 989 OPS, a 178 OPS plus. Now, I'll throw it off here to an open ending question before we kind of go off to what we think about the Red Sox and things like that. Because I think this episode will be fully therapy session. But do you think this deal puts the Mets over the Dodgers, or do you think the Dodgers are still the favorites in the NL side?
Nah, I still think the Dodgers are probably the favorite, honestly, in my opinion. I think they're just still more um, built, uh, more well-rounded built. I'm losing my train of thought here. Um, yeah, I still think it's the Dodgers.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I still think the pitching aspect of it from the Dodgers side is still stronger than the Mets. Obviously, the Mets have added some little bit of rotation help with Frankie Montas, but I don't think that's going to get you over the hump necessarily. I do
I
think it
mean,
does
yeah,
make them the favorite in the NL East. I think now they
yeah,
can compete with the likes of the Braves especially the Phillies. The Phillies have a lot of question marks with their roster and the way that it's built. But I think from an NL East perspective, I think they can finally maybe escape that wild card and become division favorites. So kind of just wanted to open up there. I kind of wanted to also pinpoint here the years. I know we talked about the money. What do you think about the years? Because I know that was also a big question. Obviously, his age is obviously what contributes to the years. 15 years. That's the longest, obviously, in sports as well. Um, I'm gonna kind of like lead my thought here or kind of break it down after you. Kind of maybe we have the same perspective. But what do you think about the years? Because I think that's also something to not ignore. We could talk about the money all we want, but 15 years, that's a long ass time.
yeah. So, what age does it take him through? So 26. So he'll be 41 when that contract is essentially can expire. So essentially, too, he could even. I mean, if he does opt out, he can opt out at 31. So if you can imagine, if he puts up like five, like record, like career best, like in all those five, it just consistently gets better. He can opt out essentially, and he's still hitting the market at a good age at 31, and it essentially could. I mean, I'm pretty sure with like inflation and all that stuff, like the money might be different. But yeah, 15 years is a long time. That's a big commitment. I mean, even with the money too, but the years itself is crazy. Um, yeah, I don't know what you think. What do you think about the years?
Yeah, because the way I thought about it too is that he's 26, and usually in sports or specifically in baseball too. And I was breaking it down to my father-in-law who doesn't really is into baseball but isn't really like familiar to like what the contract and stuff. So I was kind of breaking it down. The way I broke it down in my head is that you're paying for the first, like in baseball, your prime years are from like your 20s obviously to like your 30, 31, 32 season, whatever the case may be. So in this case here, you're paying essentially for the first 5 years, so from 26 to 31. So that's 5 years, 255 essentially. Which when you break it down like that, that's not crazy. Like that's pretty common. I'm not gonna say it's common, but like that doesn't really like change. Like doesn't I don't read that. I'm like, oh damn, that's a lot of money. You're like, oh, that's crazy. Like that's what I would expect to pay if you're doing that type of deal. So 5,255, like that's not crazy. And anything that you get beyond that, that's a plus. Like I mentioned there with the glove, it's not the best glove. So I don't know where you're going to. Obviously now the DH is universal, but um, I don't know if they plan on playing him in left field or right field. I would assume right field. I because that's his primary position. That's what he played in New York. So I would assume that he goes to right field. That's why I thought he would be a better fit with the Red Sox because of Manny Ramirez and whoever else can play left field. I think you can play left field.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think once the glove, we'll talk. That they'll get there when they get there. But I think from the first 5 years standpoint, if you win a World Series, two, whatever the case may be, like I think in the end, this makes it worth it. Because in the case of Shohei, like I mentioned there, you're making your money back essentially with the whole international aspect. Juan Soto doesn't have Japan tied behind him. Yes, he has the Dominican Republic, but I don't think that like Japan, that's their star. Otani is their guy. I don't think the Dominican Republic sees Juan Soto like that. He's just another piece added onto already star-studded list that the Dominican Republic has. But when you think of Japan, you think of Juan Soto. I mean, you think of Otani. You don't think of Dominican Republic. You don't think of Juan Soto. Right? I'm pretty sure some people do, but there are definitely a lot of different players you could think of.
yeah. Um, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he I mean 5 years from now, if he does do the opt out, I'd be curious to see like what the market looks like then. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
I
It's gonna
can't
be
even
interesting.
really like. I was like, I told my head, I can't even think of like who will be a free agent because I don't. And I think that's what makes this thing like this whole contract thing more interesting because like he's a generational talent. Like who right now is a generational talent that's not named Juan Soto or Aaron Judge?
Yeah, I was trying to think. I'm
Like,
like, I don't honestly, I don't even know who would be like the next big name free agent. Like honestly, because I think Bobby Witt got locked up by the Royals. I mean, he would have come to mind. Um, yeah, like I really can't think of anybody that honestly is making waves and is gonna put himself for a big payday. So it's kind of I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
yeah, because I was thinking about that too. I was like, who's like the next big player that would I don't want to say tread this kind of money. I don't think any other player is going to tread this kind of money. But like, who's the next guy that's going to like make waves and kind of like you mentioned there and make this kind of money or be in this big old bidding where like every team is or the big teams are after them. I really couldn't think of it because like you mentioned there, these guys are getting locked up. Julio Rodriguez is locked up. Obviously
Yeah,
Corbin
he's
Carroll had a
locked up.
down year,
Yeah.
but Corbin Carroll's locked up. Bobby Witt's locked up. So those guys are locked up. It's now going to be dependent on whatever prospects are coming through the system that these teams may value or who they may think is maybe comparable to Juan. I don't think there's going to be any player comparable to Juan Soto, but that has that potential to be a mega star or impact their team on that kind of basis. But yeah, obviously we'll know a little bit more details. I think we've kind of gotten a lot of the more details here from Juan Soto. I'm pretty sure once that press conference comes out, or as the days go by, the night goes on, we'll probably get a little bit more as to final deals. I know, like you mentioned, that we're still waiting to hear what the Blue Jays offered. The Red Sox offered 15,700, and then we had the Yankees what they offered or the extra year, but obviously was not enough. Now, last episode, you said, my friend, you were at 80%.
I don't know what I was
I was
smoking.
I obviously had trended myself here to, prepared that the prepared not to be disappointed type thing. I'm still a little bit disappointed. I don't know how I feel, honestly. It's very weird. I explained to my fiance, I said fiance so many times on this pod that I'm so prone to it. I was saying to my wife, Mrs. Muthripo, how I felt. And I really don't know how I feel. So I kind of opened up the door. Maybe you open up some leeway and I kind of maybe we go off the same way. But we preface this every episode because we don't know if we have new users, new listeners, whatever the case may be. But we are Red Sox fans, and obviously the Red Sox were looks like one of the final three teams in this bidding war for Juan Soto. But how do you feel right now as a Red Sox fan? Because I kind of hinted on a little bit, and I'll obviously go into a little bit more detail. But what the overall state, how this free agency has gone, what we heard John Henry was doing, they were kind of putting all their chips in on Soto after hearing all this, and obviously not signing with us. Um, what's your overall state of the Red Sox? Where's your mindset at, and how are you overall just feeling about the overall state of the Red Sox?
Yeah, so I think like I said like I said when we opened up the pod, initially I was like upset that he didn't sign with the Red Sox. But as it like the time after time passed by, I'm okay with it. I think I would be more okay with it if they go and like start signing guys that can obviously make the team a lot better. Because I think now the market's probably really gonna start moving. So you got like Corbin Burns. Is that his name? Losing my train of thought.
Juan Soto has you flustered, my guy.
Oh god. Yeah, they need to get a pitcher that like Max Fried. Um, yeah, I think if they go and start spending the money that they obviously were willing to spend for or that they offered Soto, um, that'll make me feel a little bit better. It was funny too 'cause, yesterday when we were eating lunch, or was it Friday? I think it was. I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday. Um, I told the wife, I was like, if the Sox somehow pull out this Juan Soto, I'll officially forgive them for the Mookie Betts fumble. So now the Sox are still on the hook for that because they didn't make it happen. But um, yeah, so I think depending on how the rest of the free agency goes, how they spend the money, who they spend it on, I think that's kind of gonna see if this how it makes me feel a little bit better. Right now, I'm okay, but like I said, they need to start moving quick because I think everybody else is gonna start falling Like I think they said they're even interested in Teoscar Hernandez, which I think the dude just wants to play for the goddamn Red Sox. Like, just bring him already.
It's
Dude wants.
funny that you said it's funny that you said the Mookie Betts thing because we went to a card show this past Saturday. If you guys want to check out that vlog, link down below. Check out the channel Moon 3PO, got a whole vlog there. But one of our good vendors that we go to, he's a Red Sox fan, and we got pretty sure you know who we're talking about. And I asked him, I was like, I was going through the cards, going through the value box. I was like, hey Mike, his name's Mike. I was like, hey Mike, like, what do you think? Juan Soto, Red Sox? And he starts laughing. And he's like, it'll be nice if he comes. And then he was talking the same thing, kind of the same conversation that you had with our sister-in-law, or my sister-in-law here. He's like, I was talking to her and I was telling him like, if they're gonna pay 760 or whatever amount to Juan Soto, it's gonna make up for the blunder that they had with Mookie Betts. And he kind of said he's echoed the same thing. He's like, he's like, it doesn't make any sense to me why they didn't pay Mookie Betts this amount, but they're gonna pay Juan Soto this amount. He's like, I guess that is what it is, but it will make up for that terrible situation and terrible mishandling of Mookie there.
And notice how I said just Mookie, and I didn't include Xander. I don't think I'll forgive them for Xander because they fucked up that one big time.
And ironically enough that you mentioned that too.
Sorry for the listeners. I'm gonna be dropping a lot of F-bombs probably. So
I even mentioned that in the vlog too. A seller had a bunch of not a bunch, but he had like a Xander Bogaerts 101. And I saw it there, and I did I did a voiceover for the video. I was like, oh, there's Xander Bogaerts, the one that still kind of hurts the heart a little bit, because yeah, they definitely fucked that one up and blundered that one. But to kind of express what I was feeling here, yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I think the way that I was kind of feeling is that I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. I guess in a weird way, because like me being mad is like if I knew that the Red Sox had like the final bid and it was between them and the Mets, like that would have been something different. Based on what we're hearing, it basically came down to the Mets and the Yankees.
According to the fabulous Marino Pepin yesterday, he tweeted it was between the Mets and the Red Sox. So.
And that other idiot Mike who said that they had a verbal agreement like a week ago. Yeah. That other idiot,
I don't know his name,
who disrespected our boy Tyler Milliken.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I would say, like I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I guess I don't even want to say disappointed is a strong word, because like going into the free agency, like I was already in the mindset like he wasn't gonna come here. Like I don't think there's a world where he comes here and that the Red Sox, the way they've operated the last couple of off seasons, that he's not gonna be here. Like based on just on the financial aspect, does he make a lot of sense for the team? Yes, he does. But is it financially easy going to make sense for the team to John Henry and those guys? No. So the fact that he was, getting, we heard the rumblings, we heard the offers that they pitched like a 3-hour meeting. He was supposedly like impressed by the Red Sox and that, their Dominican lineage and David Ortiz, all that kind of good stuff. Which I'm curious to see how that turned out. Like I want to know the details of that now that I bring that out verbally, like the contract and the whole talking to David Ortiz and Stan Kenny. I'm curious to see how that turned. But yeah, so it goes down to the thing where I expect him not to sign. We hear that he liked the Red Sox, he liked what they're offering. Then the juices get flowing, the blood gets flowing a little bit. You're getting the little tinglies there, like oh shit, like this might happen. Like there is a opportunity that this might happen, and if for it to be gone within 48 hours or however long that it's been now, that part kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie, that part kind of sucks, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, that's where I kind of felt with overall with all of that. And kind of like you mentioned there, whatever they decide to do, if they decide to pivot, obviously they need to pivot. If that's bring a Teoscar, I would like Anthony Santander. I would super prefer Teoscar just because of the right-handed bat, and I think his bat fits more of Fenway. But getting a Teoscar, getting a Corbin Burns, and Max Fried. Obviously, they already improved the bullpen with Aroldis Chapman, which that's another thing. But yeah, it's time for them to pivot and time for them to do it fast.
Yeah, I think honestly, if they were to get either Corbin Burns or Max Fried, and then if they somehow can pull off a trade for Garrett Crochet, and then get a big right-handed bat like a Teoscar, maybe Bregman. I don't know how you would fit in Bregman, but because I do think Bregman's swing plays well at Fenway too. I mean, I've seen him plenty times in Houston with the Crawford boxes, so I think he would play
I'm
well.
more I'm more of the Arenado camp. I like Arenado more than Bregman.
I like
I
Arenado
wouldn't
too.
mind Bregman if but like I think the Astros offered him like 6 150, 5 150, and he's supposed to be
Yeah,
like going back and forth on that. I don't know whatever like so let's say hypothetically it's 6 150. What's the AAV on that? 150 divided by 6. I can't do math. Oh my god, I can't do math. 25 mil per year.
see, that's
I mean,
that's not bad. I mean, if you're bringing in Arenado, you're probably going to take on a majority of that contract, which I think is upwards of like 30 million. Um, and I think he didn't. I think he's already starting like to decline. His numbers in St. Louis weren't that good last year, so I don't know if it's part of that whole Coors Field kind of inflated numbers kind of thing. But I do like Arenado. I was a big fan of Nolan Arenado. But again, I don't know how they would slide him in. Although I think he did come out and said that he would move to shortstop, right? If I'm not mistaken, was he the one who said that he would
first
go to
base.
shortstop? First base. Okay, yeah. So see then, and then
So
if you have to do something with Tristan or something, or DH him or DH somebody, what are you gonna do with Yoshida? Like it's a
well that's the
weird.
thing I have in my head. And I'll throw this out to you and fire back yes or no you like it. And it's been confirmed that the Red Sox are including Meyer in deals. They're more willing to listen to him than they are Campbell and
Yeah,
Roman Anthony. Like that, I heard that today, or saw that tonight on Twitter,
which I'm not
and which is what I
surprised
said a couple.
because yeah,
Yeah, I'm not surprised by it, and that's what I said. Also said in a couple of like weeks about. I think it's been a month now that I said that I'm fine with them moving Meyer. I'm not okay with them moving Anthony or Roman Anthony and whoever that were if you want the full name for the listeners, Roman Anthony and Kristen Campbell. I'm not considering moving him. Kyle Teal, I'm like 50-50 on. I wouldn't necessarily move him, but if that's something that can maybe get the deal done, not necessarily Meyer and Teal together, but if Teal's in a different deal that brings you something else, maybe, but together, no. But if a deal is headlined by Meyer and then you're for a Crochet, like I'm not mad about that. Like I would do that. So, and obviously I don't know the logistics. I don't know what the money is going to do. But if I'm the Red Sox, what I'm doing is I'm trading for Arenado. We know Heim Bloom is in St. Louis. I'll be a little bit cautious on the prospects. We
you
know
want him
Heim
to
Bloom
take
likes to
Yoshida.
finesse. I want them to take Yoshida. I don't know what the finessing is. I don't. I Bloom supposedly loves Yoshida, right? That was the rumor that we heard last offseason when he signed him. Like he was pumping his fist and he was excited that we got him. Um, so if I'm the Red Sox, I'm going to Heim. I'm like, hey, come get your boy. You love this dude so much. He wants to go tour St. Louis. He wants to go see whatever that arch is called.
Let's go see the
He needs to go
arch.
see it. So let's find a way to do an Arenado Yoshida deal. Find a way to figure that out. That opens up the left side or opens up, the DH spot. You then get Devers to be a full-time DH, which we do. We know the dude just loves to hit home runs. Um, then you get Arenado to cover third. You have Trevor Story as short already. That then is going to block Meyer. Like he's not going to be here. He's not a second baseman. He's too big for play second base. And plus, you have Kristen Campbell that already does that for you. So then that opens up the door to get Meyer in a deal package to get a Crochet or somebody controllable. I would also like maybe the Mariners. I know they're asking price a little bit higher, but like a George Kirby, those kind of guys. But and then that also keeps you in the position to keep Tristan Casas because I don't know where the fuck this thing is with trading Casas. I don't know why that's so popular these days. Like, why the fuck do you want to trade him? That's a big f bomb because I'm like, I hear this stuff. I'm like, why are we gonna do that? Like, that to me does not make any sense. And I'm not just saying like I have this collectible and I have his Bowman card. Like, yes, I love him as a player. Like, he's one of my favorite players since Pedroia, which has been a long time. But like, I don't understand why you're gonna trade a guy who we've seen and he hasn't done it yet in a full season, but can potentially be a 40 home run, 100 RBI guy. Like, why do you want to give that away? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't understand that narrative either. I really don't know. Like everybody's so quick to get rid of him. Like, and I honestly do not know what it is that just appeals to trading Tristan Casas. It's pretty crazy. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think they have to try to figure out a way how to offload Yoshida, unless they're going to put him in the outfield, which I don't think we've heard a story as to why he hasn't didn't hit the field all last year. Unless they did come out and I just completely missed it. But yeah, I think they need to free up that DH spot, and I don't necessarily want to move Devers off third, and I don't think that's the plan. But would like for them to like rotate that DH spot. You know what I mean? Where they can rotate Devers, Story, Casas if they trade for an Arenado. Um, like I think if they have that rotating DH spot to give guys a break from the infield would be great. I think we're now in that day and age where or we're getting close to where I think or actually a lot of teams I think kind of operate. They don't have like a full time DH. I don't think it's as common as it was back in the day. But I don't know. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see how they do it. But I do think out of all the prospects that the Sox would have, I think we talked about this last time too. Like if we're willing to part with one, it'd probably be Marcelo, which I think his stock has kind of dropped a little bit, not fully, but it is dropping a little bit just because he's been hurt. He hasn't really finished a full season, but he's still in that top prospect range where he can go and headline a package deal for like a Crochet. I think I even saw now that apparently that the Yankees are trying to get into Crochet. But I'm like, dude, like
What the hell are
what
they going to
prospect?
offer?
Yeah,
Their farm
like
system is so trash. Who are they going to offer? Jason Domingos has been a rookie for the last like 4 years. Like, who the fuck are they going to offer? Spencer Jones strikes out like a 50% clip. Like, who are they going to offer? George
yeah, that's what I'm
Lombard?
saying. Like I don't know who they would. Like I don't think they have anybody that they would. They would have to probably trade like I don't know. Like I don't know. It'd have to be headlined like by Jason Dominguez or like I said, like a Spencer Jones or something. But I highly doubt that's gonna happen. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see a world where the Yankees get that done. Like, no disrespect to their farm system, and that's not me just being biased, but their farm system is complete trash. Like Spencer Jones was one of the guys where you thought maybe, but now the dude just strikes out like at a 40% clip in the minor. So good luck with that. Uh, and Jason Dominguez has been a minor rookie for like the last like 3 seasons, which has been ridiculous. Um, but yeah, if I'm the Red Sox, that's kind of what I'm doing. Easier said than done, obviously. And
True
now,
that.
obviously, very easier said than done, I would say. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting full week of the winter meetings upheld about in Dallas. It was about 5 hours from us. Maybe we'll go over there, go talk to Craig Breslow, but like, hey, what are you cooking up there?
I'm still
Uh,
waiting for that John Henry to pick up the phone. He hasn't responded to me yet. So
instead of responding to
yeah,
your text yet.
no. I guess I have to pull this in on one-on-one debut patch to get his attention.
Yeah, pull us a Don Cam Boozer. Who else made it? A David Hamilton esque
David
rookie
Hamilton,
debut
yeah.
patch, and
Um,
yeah, get them a call a little bit.
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, just to like not really pivot, but still on the subject. But what about Willie Adames? Were you in on him? Did you want him on the Sox?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because to me, it kind of still completes what I like wanted in an aspect, like the whole get Devers to DH type thing. Because I know, like you just mentioned there, that you kind of like to have that whole platoon, but the Red Sox, the times they've won the World Series, they had a prominent DH. So, with Julio and David, obviously. But I mean, yeah, I guess I can see where the game is kind of transitioning, where you want to have that flexibility in there. But yeah, with Willie Adames, it's kind of to make that little smooth transition here. I obviously agreeing to the Giants with 7 year, $182 million. I wouldn't necessarily say I was like in on it, but it kind of completed what I wanted. I think the money was kind of a little bit too crazy, in my opinion. Like I'm not paying that much for him. Granted, he's a pretty good defensive or good offensive and defensive. I think his defense is pretty average there from on that side, but yeah, I wasn't pretty disappointed with that. I was pretty fine with him going to the Giants. I'm not too sure what you thought about it.
Yeah. Surprisingly, I kind of like didn't really like. I was like, like kind of thing. I think when I saw him sign, I was like, all right, I think Soto's probably gonna sign soon too. Um, but I think now he's like I think in Giants history, he's like now the largest contract in Giants history. And I think he's the third highest paid Dominican contract wise or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Um, yeah, I'm just like looking at his numbers. He's not like crazy numbers, but I mean, like last year was the first time he hit over 100 RBIs, batted 251, OPS is 794. So like it's nothing like ooh, like I like him defensively, but I think like we have Story, and I'm betting on Story having hopefully a full year and good comeback season. So yeah, I really didn't like didn't get me going. I was like, good for the Giants.
Yeah, that was my more perspective. Like, good for the Giants. Like, they finally got their guy. Obviously they had Blake Snell, but now he's gone. They tried to give him Carlos Correa that kind of money, but then they said, "Hey, buddy, something's wrong with that ankle there." They tried to give him that money to Arson Judge. He said no. Um, but
What
I
to
mean,
say?
um, so yeah, I mean, good for them, and I think good for Buster Posey. Like, I think he's trying
Yeah,
to like show like, hey, like we're still here, like we're still gonna be try to be competitive in a very competitive division now with the Dodgers, the D-backs, all those guys, Padres. Like it's a very competitive division. So like, hey, we're still trying to keep up with them. And that left side of the left field there, it's a pretty good one with Matt Chapman and now Willie Adames. Um, they've invested some money on that left side of the field. And now you can still have Logan Webb, obviously. So you kind of have the pieces to slowly build around there. But yeah, good for the Giants in that aspect. Yeah, for me, kind of going into a little bit of the deeper numbers for Willie Adames, to me, um, his bat has a little bit more swing and miss than I like. I believe he was like almost at a 30% chase rate and a 30% whiff rate. So that to me was a little bit alarming because already the Red Sox lineup this past year already had a lot of swing and miss. So adding to that, I don't think solves a lot of your problems. Again, like you mentioned, they barely clipped the uh, 30 home run thing. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it goes more of a thing where like, oh, like I really want him on this team. It was more of a case of where like if we got him, okay, great. If it's at the right price, but I think that price is just a little bit of overpay. But I think there for the Giants that you kind of needed to do that um, to finally show the league and show the teams that like, hey, like we're still going to be competing.
yep. And then we who else? Oh, then we had the Tyler O'Neill signing. He went to the Orioles for 3 years. I don't remember the dollar amount. But that one was like good riddance. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I was not a big Tyler O'Neill fan. He drove me
You
crazy.
weren't really?
Nah, not really.
Was the injuries or just like? Well,
I
I'm
don't
curious about your
know.
perspective on it.
I don't know what it was. I feel like he was a good player and he had his moments, but I think he was. I think like I feel like I don't know. Like they made it seem like he was a bigger deal than I think he actually was. Like I don't understand how he won a Gold Glove. Like that dude drove me crazy. Like I don't remember what game it was, but it was that one game. I think it was probably against the Yankees where like he like ended up like bumping himself against the monster, and like I was like, dude, it didn't look like you have to do that. Like it was like I don't know, like it just he drove me crazy. And when he was in big spots, I feel like he was always striking out. Like and then he would have I don't know. I think for like for every one good moment that he had like two like really bad moments. I don't know. It just I wasn't the biggest Tyler O'Neill fan. Maybe
So
that was
yeah,
just me.
the Baltimore Orioles there. The total deal on this here was 3 year, $49.5 million with an opt out after the first year. The deal, obviously, right now at the time is pending a physical. Tyler O'Neill for the Boston Red Sox hit 31 home runs, hitting 241 with an OPS of 847 and 113 games. Kind of talked about it here. Let's see where he has here. Yeah, nothing really too crazy. Him for me, it was more of a case of like I like the bat. I think he was kind of the right-handed bat that we needed for a little bit and kind of showed that at time, like you mentioned there. Yeah, he had some defensive miscues. I wouldn't have mind if they brought him back, but again, had to be on the right price. I think if we're gonna kind of throw that kind of money around, I think obviously Teoscar is gonna make more than that, obviously. But I would rather just give that money, tack it on a little bit more, and then bring in Teoscar Hernandez, who, like we've kind of mentioned earlier in the episode, like he's just been begging to come here for the last year, 2 years now. Dude's been
Yeah,
begging to come here. And if you're the Red Sox too, I'm kicking yourself because you should have had Teoscar in here last year. And you're not shouldn't have to have played such a increased price. Now you're doing that because we know he can do this at an elite level. Obviously, winning the World Series there with the Dodgers. But yeah, Tyler O'Neill, 3 year, 49 and a half. Kind of sucks. He's still within the same division. I think he's going to be one of those guys that kind of maybe hurts us. I don't know why. I just feel like he's one of those guys where if he plays against, I know he did it with the Cardinals when we played them. He did pretty well. So I don't know if it's going to be one of those things where like, hey, I'm going to show these guys like I'm worth this amount of money and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't too upset about it. It was kind of things. If it was right for the money, sure. If not, I would not have minded if he would have came back.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you somehow Tyler Nill's probably gonna hear this episode. He's gonna be like, "All right, motherfucker, I'm gonna keep my eye on you. He's gonna come back and haunt me."
He's gonna haunt you and bench press you because that dude's fucking ripped. That's why I was like, it's pretty cool to see him and Jaron Duran together.
Yeah,
Kind of
that was
the
cool.
biggest athletes here, and then
The big
another
meatheads.
the big meat the big meatheads, and then another signing here that we had this week here, or last week I should say, is Jose Severino signing with the A's. I can't call them the Oakland A's because that's not what they are anymore. I'm curious to get your reaction right off the bat for that, because that I put out a tweet on my Twitter. Like I had to make sure I read that tweet like 3 times, coming in from Jeff Passan, that it was the A's, because I did not see that coming whatsoever.
Yeah, that was that was weird. I mean, the two things that jumped off right off the bat, I was like, well, one, it's a multi-year deal. I'm like, they offer multi-year deals there. Like, I didn't even know they knew that was a thing. I think it was a 3-year contract. Um, and then I think that immediately became like the highest highest contract for the A's that they've ever given out. I think they said it since Eric Chavez. I'm like, dude, that's a long time ago. Like, I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting. I think I even remember seeing that apparently that, well, obviously I don't think it's been announced yet that the whole Vegas thing, I don't think it's been fully confirmed, but I think they did say that they wanted to start like spending money because to get ready for the Vegas move. But I also think it's kind of like just like a slap in the face to the Oakland fans. Like they were there all those years, never signed anybody, constantly trading away their stars. And then the first year that they're out, they're gonna start playing Sacramento. They go and sign Luis Severino. So I was like, dude, come on. So yeah, fuck the A's on it.
Yeah. The Luis Severino deal here, officially being 3 years. I just had it right here. What was it? Yeah, it says here a 2-year deal with the player option for the 30 year, guaranteeing him $60 million in total if he stays for the full term. And yeah, it was one of the things there again where I'm like, what are they doing in that aspect? Because yeah, I don't know exactly what their plans are with the team. I know they kind of, I don't want to say overperformed, but they kind of showed that they do have some young talent again with Lawrence Butler, Brant Rooker, Mason Miller. So they definitely do have a little bit of a piece. I think he said in his press conference that when they came to New York against in a Mets series, that he kind of saw the glimpses of like a 2017, 2018 team
Oh
when they
yeah,
made the
yeah.
playoffs. I think that's what he said. So I mean, good on him for gaining his money, I guess. But yeah, I just don't know exactly what that does for the whole team in general. And kind of like you mentioned, I think it's a really big slap in the face to that fan base, to that organization, that they did that. Yeah, but I don't know if that necessarily makes him a favorite in the AL West, but definitely interesting because again, yeah, that's a lot of money to invest in a pitcher, and for especially a pitcher of his caliber, especially for a team that has like no location.
Yeah, I think they said that the ballpark that they're going to be playing in, I think it's like it's not pitcher friendly. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. That's going to be a interesting scenario, but yeah, I don't know. It was just weird to see them give out money. They even had that. They had, like you said, you brought it up. They had the press conference for him and everything. I'm like, we're doing this? Like, all right, let's. I don't know where the hell they had that press conference at. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at to see here what they had here on this article, but yeah, I'm not seeing too much as far as of that. But yeah, I guess in a good way too. Like it is finally good that they're like starting to invest in somebody, because yeah, obviously some of those pitchers there do benefit there with obviously with the big foul foul lines there. But yeah, it's gonna be curious to see how it translates. How it translates in Sacramento. That's what they're playing, right? Sacramento, I believe.
Yeah, it's in Sacramento. Yeah, I think where the
Yeah, and
River
then
Cats play, the AAA team. If they're still called the River
that's right.
Cats. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. And the move to Vegas is 26, right? Is it? It's been confirmed 26.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. Like, so I think it's 2026 or 2027, but I haven't seen like an official like statement that they're moving to Vegas. If I'm not mistaken, like I know where they plan to build the ballpark, but I don't know if that funding's been like approved and guaranteed. Like they're gonna get it because that hotel that they were gonna build the ballpark on, I think it's already been demolished. If I'm not mistaken,
So let's
but
see here. This
I
is coming
don't
from ESPN.
know
It
if it's
says
been.
here A's clear last major hurdles for 1.75 billion Las Vegas Stadium. The Las Vegas Stadium Authority approved lease, non-relocation, and development documents Thursday to clear the last major hurdles for the Athletics to construct a 1.75 billion stadium on the Strip and bring Major League Baseball to the expanding sports market. The lease and non-relocation agreements covers each cover 30 years. Um, so it says here. Yeah, other details remain to be worked out, such as development agreement with the Clark County, but groundbreaking probability will take place in the spring to allow a scheduled opening for the 2028 season. So you're going to be in the minors for 4 years?
Damn,
Jeez,
that's
that is
crazy.
crazy. Yeah, that is absolutely ridiculous. Nevada and the Clark County are providing 380 million in public funding for a 30,000 dome stadium, estimated to have a 33,000 capacity. Public financing doesn't begin until the A's have spent at least 100 million. Dean said the organization has already invested 40 million, so they're still
Oh,
60 mil short.
so they have. Oh, so no wonder. Okay, okay. Well, that makes sense then. So they got to spend now. They got to spend money.
Yeah. It says here,
Oh,
um, God, yeah, what does this say here? This is the first time I'm reading this. 4 letters. There's a loan. Oh my god! It says Dean also said the club owner John Fisher increased the previous pledge of his family's money to 1.1 billion. Dean said U.S. Bank and Goldman Sachs will offer a 300 million loan. Fisher still hopes it attracts investors in Las Vegas and elsewhere who would purchase equity in the team, according to Dean. Yeah, and it says here the A's will play at least the next 3 seasons at a minor league ballpark in the West Sacramento, California. They recently played in the 57 seasons in Oakland Coliseum. Yeah, that is just. That's just. I read that. That just pisses me off even more.
that's crazy. I mean, obviously, I don't know the full story. Like, I haven't really really dug into the whole like A's and the whole John Fisher thing. But I also think the city of Oakland needs to be studied because they lost the Raiders, they lost the Warriors, and then now they lost the A's. Like, so something has to be going on in that damn city too, where like none of the teams are staying. They're just up and dipping. So I don't know. That's a story for another day.
Yeah, that's another story and a full pledged pod on the Oakland A's and John Fisher. Hell, I'm probably gonna go watch Moneyball when I go to sleep. Now thinking about it.
That's
Shout out to my
that's how
favorite.
that's how I pictured the conversations between for the Juan Soto deal went with Scott Boras. We thought where Billy Bean's talking to you said I had Damon for 7.5. He is if you get him for 8. Oh, you played me. You
Played me.
played me.
That's a
That's
good.
how that's how I see it.
I forget that they play. They do a little bit of a voiceover for Scott Boras with Johnny. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's a good
You
comp.
said we have John for 7.6. Boston just upped it to 7.8. We had a deal,
We got a
Scott.
deal,
We do
Scott.
have a deal. I mean, if it's 8. You played me. You played me.
Congratulations, asshole! You win.
You win. I'm pretty sure that's how. I think I think we just broke how the Soto deal ended. Although it's probably Cashman on the other end. I just saw too a report came out from ESPN that the Yankees didn't have no deferred money too in their contract.
Damn.
That's kind of interesting for him
that.
to. It's kind of interesting for him to pick between. I mean, does that extra year? Like, I don't know. Maybe
Well,
they
it
didn't
kind of
have an
the
opt out. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
yeah, I don't know. I would think like the final thing here, like the final thoughts on Soto and all that is like, I mean, from what we heard, and maybe he'll confirm some things in his press conference, but like he wanted to know like the future of the clubs, like the farm system for the Mets is in a better position than it is for the Yankees, and maybe he saw, and we've always heard the rumblings about how the Yankees operate their minor league system, that some of the guys that come up like they don't know how to teach them, or like they teach them the wrong things, and then when they go up to the majors, it's something completely different. So I don't know if maybe that played into it. Maybe he kind of saw that first glimpse, and maybe the Mets, they do have a better farm. They definitely do than the Yankees. Not better than the Red Sox, of course, but
Well, I mean, look
yeah,
how they
maybe that
fumbled
kind of,
freaking Jason Dominguez. I have no idea why he was not playing in the later part of the season over Alex Verdugo. Like,
yeah.
like if you know you're not, if Verdugo's not part of your future, and you literally have your top prospect that people like drool over, and he's just sitting there. Like, I don't know. It's just
Isn't he a
crazy.
free agency too? Verdugo, isn't he a free agent?
Yeah, yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
Minor league deal somewhere.
Probably. He's probably gonna. He's
uh,
probably gonna go play. He's gonna go play for the Sacramento A's. Probably. He looks like a good A's player.
bring some culture, bring some vibes, some good vibes for the first half of the month, and after they're out of it, bring some bad vibes for the rest of the month,
Or
for the
nah,
rest
he
of the
looks like a good Marlins. He looks like a good Marlins player too. He'll fit perfectly on the Marlins.
year. Oh, yeah, but that'll be pod breaking worthy, emergency pod worthy. Rather, Alex Verdugo.
Alex Verdugo, 2 years, 40 mil to the Miami Marlins.
But yeah, those were all the big signings here that we had. Obviously, there was a little bit of other signings there that I don't think were worth really discussing. Blake Treinen
Yeah, I
just
mean, if you want
from
to, we can just like I don't want to completely ignore it, but yeah, the Sox did sign Aroldis Chapman, and it's gonna be super fucking weird. Like, we spent years talking shit about this guy, and now he's on our side. I'm like, and then that weird comment where he posted a picture like with the hat on, and then like what's his name, Salvador Perez left a comment like, "Oh, congratulations, brother! Like you're playing for your favorite team. Good luck." I'm like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, stop trying to get me to like you because I don't like you, and I don't think I'm honestly gonna like you. So whatever.
yeah, I think I put out a tweet that like I saw him in the same picture that we were talking about here, and I was like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, kind of seeing
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it kind of just feels the same thing here again. That he fits the void for all the things that the Red Sox were needing. A left-handed pitcher, guy that throws with velocity. That's kind of what Alex Cora was kind of talking about too. Was that we're needing a guy with a little more velo, guy that kind of throws the. He even hit 105 again this past season with the Pirates. Uh, but it's hard to ignore the personal side of it and just the baggage that comes with him. Obviously, from the domestic violence stuff that came out 5 years ago, and then I think even the I don't what's his name, I can't think of it on top of my head, but it's supposed to be that the Red Sox in 16 had a deal for him for Marco Hernandez and somebody else, and that
Oh
the
yeah,
Red
yeah,
Sox
yeah.
knew. The Red Sox knew or find out about it, and then they backed away and they told the Reds about it. And then they pivoted to Craig Kimbrell, and then the Yankees supposedly still knew about it and still went with the deal. Um, so yeah, there's obviously that stuff that comes with it. I think it was what was it 22, 21 and 22 when he was supposed to throw a bullpen session with the Yankees during the postseason. He said, "Nope, I'm out," and just said, "Deuces, I'm not coming back," and dipped
Yeah.
on his team. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of uh, baggage that comes with him, and that just makes me on the personal side of baseball, on the personal side of it, really uncomfortable. But when you look at it from like the baseball standpoint, the numbers and things like that, he kind of fits what the Red Sox were looking for. Not a long term commitment either. 1 year, $10.75 million, I believe, what the deal was. Would have loved if they got Tanner Scott. Maybe they're still in
Yeah,
the
that's what
running
I was
for
about to
that.
say. It's gonna be kind of cursy because I haven't really heard his name out in the market of anything like that, so it's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's gonna be. I'm curious to see what he's gonna get, and I mean, maybe they. I think so. I think they specifically got Chapman for the left-handed role, and maybe they don't see Tanner Scott like that. They see him more like the closer role, maybe. So maybe that's probably why they're kind of feeling out the market for that. Because I know they're trying to like ease in Liam Hendricks into the closer role, but I mean, I don't know how he's gonna do. I know he had that setback last year during the middle of the season, so I haven't heard anything on him this offseason, so it's kind of interesting to see where he's at. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe they see Tanner Scott more of like the closer role, which I wouldn't, which I would like. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. And even Liam Hendricks too, he was pretty pumped that they brought Chapman in. I think he put some
Oh,
like fire
dude,
emojis. Yeah, I think
yeah. I don't know.
so.
It's
Yeah, I
just
don't know.
weird.
And I think Tristan Cassis too. I think Tristan Cassis posted a picture with him. I think they were like working out together, or like I know. I think Cassis was working out and Chapman was there, so they even posted a picture together. So I don't know. It's very
So weird.
uncomfortable. Yeah, it's very weird.
I am
Don't
very
necessarily.
uncomfortable with this.
I don't know if they didn't do a press conference, right? I don't think they were, right? Or have announced a deal officially? Has the Red Sox announced it officially?
I don't think so.
I think
I
probably
think
pending
it's
physical, probably.
probably, yeah. But yeah, I don't think it's been officially announced.
Yeah, I don't see anything here on their Instagram page or anything like that. So yeah, nothing
Oh,
yet
I
confirmed.
can't
Maybe
wait to see the comment section on that picture.
yeah, they got to be like the A's and mute their comments and take off the replies on the
Probably
tweets.
are. Probably. 'Cause that's gonna be an ugly one.
Yeah, I'll be curious to monitor that as the days goes on here. I would probably assume that this deal, because it's going to be almost a week since it's been announced. So I'm hoping, or not hoping, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be confirmed with the next couple of days, especially with the winter meetings coming around. But yeah, those are basically all the free agents here that have signed and that we know of. Obviously, like we just briefly mentioned, Chapman. There's been some other minor deals here. Michael Conforto just signed with the Dodgers, I believe, on a 1 year, 17 mil. Blake Treinen has officially backed there with the Dodgers as well, I believe, on a 2 year deal. Kind of taking a Willie Crick scroll here on Jeff Pasek. That's the only person I trust with all these kind of tweets.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I got his notifications on.
yeah, that's basically it. Blake Treinen, 2 year, 22 mil. Pretty good. Um, but yeah, nothing really else on the free agent market. We had said earlier, obviously, past episode, that Juan Soto was going to be emergency pod worthy. I don't know if there's anybody else that's emergency pod worthy. Obviously, if it's Red Sox worthy, it will be emergency pod worthy. Like if it's Corbin Burns, Max Fried, if there's a crazy trade, those will be emergency pod worthy. If not, we'll probably be like a day late, or not day late. We'll probably record that same day or day of, maybe the day after, then talk about it, then be on normal release. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's the way my mind reads it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really think there's any. I think by the time we probably record the next pod, we could probably record maybe after the winter meetings, because I think more deals are probably going to come. And I pray to God there's not like no 3 a.m., 4 a.m. tweet like last year, or a couple years ago. I just pray to God that's not the case. And like, just let us sleep in peace. Let us wake up, get our coffee, put on MLB Network on the side while we work. Man, let the news roll in like that. I'm good with that.
Oh yeah. Well, I also forgot to mention it. Don't think it'll be emergency pod worthy, but definitely will be a key player to talk about. Roki Saki, I think is officially getting posted this
He's
week, I
going to the
believe.
Dodgers. I don't want to hear it.
I saw your tweet. I just wanted to hear.
He's got 40.
Yeah.
He's got 40. He's got 45 days to sign with the Dodgers. Let's be real, people. I don't know why, and I think they even put out that narrative. They were like, I don't know why it's coming out that he wants to sign with the Dodgers. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, just be real. Let's be real. Don't be lying.
Just have the Red Sox do a presentation on Daisuke and Okajima, Koji, Yoshida, and then we'll get him in here.
Oh yeah, dude. Can you imagine the tours that Yoshida could take Saki on? Like, dude, he could show him everything. You know what? Screw it, dude. Send Yoshida to the Dodgers, and they can have everybody over there. Give us who could we get back? I don't know. Give us Michael Kopech back or something. I don't know.
Oh God, love Michael Kopech. Love that man with all my life. Speaking of, before we do head up to our final thoughts, what do you think about the Japanese card? I don't know if you saw that. Otani, Ichiro, Hideki Matsui, Yoshida.
Yeah, that looked pretty sick.
That's pretty cool, right?
That was a pretty sick card. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, put some respect on Yoshida's name, man. I know we're kind of trashing him earlier, but man, put some respect on his name.
Dude, I look like him. It was just a weird season for him last year. Like it was like his first rookie year. Like he did, I liked him a lot, but it's just I don't know what it was about last year. I guess maybe it was the injuries, the whole thumb thing, and then the not fielding thing was just weird. Like I don't know. Like there you go. Go for all
Yeah,
you YouTube people.
I know.
Look,
I know. It seemed like we're kind of crapping on it, but yeah, I like Yoshida. The defense thing, I don't know what that is. With him even have his Bowman anime case hit card, not numbered or anything. Yeah, I might throw it to the PSA grading special or grading thing for the hell of it. Now that I forgot I had that, but yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool card. But yeah, that's all we have on our end. I'll kind of leave the door here for you, Bropio. I know we kind of had a little bit. We definitely had some other things planned for this episode, but obviously the Juan Soto and other free agency signing kind of took up a lot of that here. But I kind of leave the door open to you for any final thoughts, any cool little things that you partake in this week. Any, I know you've been ripping some things, you've been opening some packages on TikTok, so I'll let the floor open to you for final thoughts. Anything that you have for the good old listeners of Cardboard Dugout.
yeah. So, well, you were part of it too. This past Friday night, we participated in half a case of Bowman draft with the homies over at Cards and Culture. Shout out to Anthony Renato and the team over there for hosting the break. It was the first time I actually saw the product rip live, and man, that was pretty fun. I know you bought the Red Sox spot, so you pulled some good stuff. I took a little safer gamble. Picked up the Astros. Wasn't exact Astros checklist. If you have seen it, is not large. I think it's literally like one auto. I think like in like four chrome prospects. So it's a really cheap spot. Um, so I just wanted to like just take a gamble on it and see. Ended up getting like two number cards out of it and a couple first of what's his name? Is it Parker Smith? Is his name?
Parker Smith.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So I pulled some pretty cool numbered out of it, and totally wasn't expected to hit anything crazy. So just to get that out of the break was pretty cool. But it's a pretty fun rip. Like I really liked it. The price tag is crazy. Some like it's something that I wouldn't even entertain, which I mentioned in the last pod. Not entertaining, even buying a box. I participated in the little break, got a few number cards. Um, but yeah, that product, it like I said, it's a fun rip, but it's a big like it's an investment kind of product in a sense because these are guys that literally just got drafted. But I mean, it was fun. I had fun. But other than that, I think that's all I got on my end. Um, Nothing's really coming to mind. Hopefully, we get some more deals coming in these next couple of days now that the winter meetings are kicking off. So, yep, I'll be glued to my iPad and movie network for the next couple of days.
Yeah. Kind of mentioned it there here. Yeah, we joined that break together. We're in there with the Cards and Culture team. Yeah, got the Red Sox spot. Got a Brandon Montgomery. Got a couple of nice inserts, some pitcher autos, some nice numbered cards, some nice parallels. I will be doing a video opening or unboxing, unpacking on that over on TikTok. So once that package does come in, keep an eye on that because you will see all of the cards here that we pulled there from that break. Was probably one of my better breaks in a while. Uh,
Yeah, you
partaking
were
that.
due for a hit.
Yeah, I was due, man. I was running a little dry there. I was like, man, I remember why I don't do this shit, but yeah, I was due for one. But yeah, I think especially with that Bowman set is like I'm so outpriced on buying a box of that. Like partaking in breaks is like the
Yeah.
only way I can get my hands on this product unless I'm going to go buy singles. But just the thrill, the chase of like maybe pulling an auto, maybe a number card. Because even going out and buying an auto and number to that card, I'm so outpriced with that. But maybe like a smidgen of 1/4 of that price to potentially get something out of there. Is why I'll probably be taking a look into more breaks, specifically the Oakland A's, the Reds. I'm a big fan of the White Sox too. The White Sox have some sleeper guys on that. So they're probably the three teams here. I want to get my Red Sox fix out of there, which I did that Friday night. So yeah, it was definitely due. Got some nice stuff in. So hopefully going forward this week, if they host any other breaks or maybe if there's another breaker at a good price, potentially take a look at those. So stay tuned on all that on the socials for that. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, all the links to our other socials are linked down in the description down below. You can find me everywhere at Moon3PO. You can find Bropio at _ Robbie ROBBEEE. That's 2B3E. So if you want to check out those TikToks and check out his Twitter, You definitely can. So please feel free to go follow us over there. I do have a new YouTube video out for you listeners. I did go to a card show. It's the last card show, the bigger card show for the month. It's the last one they have before the new year. So you guys want to go check out that video. We're specifically on the hunt for 2024 Bowman Draft singles. So that was a fun one. There was also some, cool little showcases. Got some hands on a couple of other cool cards at a seller that lets me take a look at. So yeah, got some cool cards in there. Got some good showcases. So yeah, go check out what I picked up over on YouTube again at Moon3PO, same handle there. Yeah, we will be back next week unless something crazy breaks with the Red Sox via trade. Other than that, that's all that I have for the Cardboard Dugout listeners. Thank you for listening, watching. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, where we get your podcast, again, please feel free to follow and leave a rating on the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Over 600 subscribers still, which is crazy to me. Thank you guys for all the support there over on that. And if you're, again, watching on YouTube, leave a like and comment down below. But yeah, that's all I have. Thanks for listening, watching, and stay tuned for the next one.